Hello class, all the presentation is in Simplified Chinese, so I'm going to be explaining slowly in English so that the translator, the captions appear. So, this week we have been talking about how to calculate cost, and you were introduced to some words. One of the words that you were introduced to was this one, and this is the meaning of it. I'm going to hold here for a few seconds so that you can read the definition. The next word that we learned today was this one, and here is the definition. Basically, it's called expenses. Basically, money that leaves your wallet. Money that you use to pay for services or products. We also talk about this word, which is called budget, and the definition is here. This is the definition of budget. During class, we gave an example of how to calculate the cost of an item in the course of a year. And we talk about how Kiko likes to drink a nice coffee or coffee with whipped cream from his favorite coffee shop, and that the coffee costs a merely $4.37, or like Kiko says, innocent $4.37. So to know how much money he spends in a year, we first began by multiplying the amount of the coffee times 5, because 5 is the amount of days that he buys his coffee. So only 5 days out of the week he buys the coffee, bringing a total of $21.85. Next, we needed to figure out how much will be monthly. And all that we have to do is multiply that total of the weekly total by 4, because there are 4 weeks in a month, giving you a total of $87.40. And then we repeat the same thing in order to find the yearly amount by multiplying by 12, which gave a surprising number of $1,048.80. So Kiko is spending $1,048.80 a year buying his favorite coffee drink 5 days out of a week on weekly basis. So that means that first we got the $4.37 and multiply it by the amount of days that he purchases. Then we grab that amount and multiply it by 4, because there is 4 weeks in a month, in order to get the amount of money that is spent in a month. And then we multiply that for the months in a year, which is 12, which gave the amount. After that, we were thinking about what would it be like if he made that exact drink at home, if he could possibly save himself some money. So we first gathered the things that we needed. He needed a coffee maker and a tumbler that is reusable. He needed to pick his favorite brands of coffee, creamer, and whipped cream, which we did find. We went to the website of Walmart and we found out the prices, because we needed to calculate how much that will cost a year. So basically, we discovered that the coffee maker that was being sold came with a tumbler for under $15, that his coffee brand was $6.42, and it lasted 1 month, that the creamer lasted 2 months and it was $6.88, and that the Cool Whipped Cream was $3.12, and that lasted about a month. What we did next was to grab the amount that he spends if he buys the coffee, which was this amount over here, right? And then we subtracted the items that we found online. So the first one that we did was the coffee maker and the tumbler, which brought it down to $1,033. Then we deducted the coffee bags, and we realized that he needed 12 coffee bags, because each coffee bag only lasted a month. So a year in coffee he needed to spend $77. Now that we got that amount, we had to deduct that amount from this amount, which gave us 956. Then we had deduct the amount of how much it would be for the creamer. Now, this creamer jar lasted 2 months, so we only needed to multiply by 6 because the creamer lasted 2 months. So he only needed 6 creamers in order to have creamer for a year, which it turned out to $41.28. And we deducted that from the previous balance. And finally, the Cool Whip, $3.12 times 12 is 37, minus the previous amount of $37.44. We got a total of $878.05. So basically, Kiko can spend $170.75 making his own coffee at home, or he could waste $1,048.80. If he makes it at home, right, he will be saving $878. And I think that he wants to save that amount. What do you think? All right, class. The activity that you had to do was for the past 4 to 5 days to write down, to create a log of the snacks and food that you eat outside of home, so that we can make this calculation and see how much the food that you eat, like chips, snacks, that is outside of your house, is costing you in a yearly basis. If you have any questions, just reach out.